The wind blew cold dust across the rusted junk plains of planet Gorak 7. Everything was dead here, metal bones of old ships, broken machines, empty cans, sharp wires. The sky was always gray. The ground was sharp and hard. Two small alien girls hid behind a pile of broken engines. Their skin was dirty. Their ribs showed through their thin bodies. They had no shoes, no clothes, and no home. Just each other. The older one, maybe 12 years old, kept her arm around the younger, who looked no more than 7. Her body was shivering. She had a bad cough, and her feet were bloody from walking over sharp scraps. "Hold on, Mira," the older one whispered, holding her tighter. "I'll keep you safe." The younger girl, Mira, blinked up at her sister. Her big eyes were full of tears. Her lips were dry, and her voice was weak. "I'm cold, Laurie. I can't feel my toes." "I know," Laurie said, trying to stay strong. "Just sleep a little. Don't cry. I'll find food soon, I promise." But there was no food, no water. Nothing left. They had escaped a slaver ship 5 days ago. Crawled out of a broken cargo bay when the ship crashed nearby. The other slaves had run far. But Laurie stayed close, carrying Mira. Her little sister couldn't run anymore. Now they were stuck in the trash zone. And no one ever came here except for one man. A ship hummed overhead. Laurie's head snapped up. A light beam passed over the junk piles. Someone was here. She quickly pushed Mira deeper under the scrap metal. "Don't move," she whispered. "Be quiet." The ship landed not far away. It was an old human cargo ship, gray, bulky, with patches of metal on the side. The ramp came down. A human man stepped out, wearing a brown coat, boots, and a dusty backpack. A laser rifle was strapped to his back. He looked strong but tired. His beard was rough. His eyes sharp. He looked around the junk field like he was searching for parts. Laurie didn't trust humans. She didn't trust anyone anymore. She stayed hidden. But Mira coughed. A dry, loud cough. The man turned. He froze. Slowly he walked toward the sound. Laurie's heart pounded. Her hand reached for a sharp piece of scrap, a broken blade. The human man stepped closer. His boots crushed the dry metal pieces. His face looked confused. And then he saw them, 2 dirty alien girls. One holding a rusty blade. One shivering behind her. He stopped a few steps away and slowly raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said softly. Laurie didn't move. Her grip on the blade tightened. The man lowered his backpack, opened it, took out a wrapped sandwich. He placed it gently on the ground in front of him. Then he stepped back. "I'm Jack," he said. "Just a scavenger, looking for parts." Laurie looked at the food. Her stomach growled. Mira's eyes widened. Jack slowly reached into his coat again. Laurie flinched, but he only pulled out a small thermal blanket. He unfolded it and held it out. "You're freezing," he said. "Take it." "No," Laurie shouted. Her voice was cracked but loud. "Go away." Jack paused, then slowly knelt on one knee and placed the blanket beside the food. "I'll leave," he said, "but take these, please." He stood up and turned to walk back. Suddenly, Mira tried to stand, but her legs gave out. She fell. Jack spun back. Laurie dropped the blade and grabbed Mira, pulling her close. But Mira didn't wake up. Her skin looked pale. Her breathing was slow. "Please," Laurie whispered. No. Jack stepped forward carefully. "She needs help," he said. Laurie looked up at him. Her eyes were full of tears. Her lips shook. "Are you really not going to take us?" she asked. Jack shook his head. "No cages, no selling. I promise." Laurie looked down at Mira, then at the food, then back at Jack. Her hands trembled. "Help her," she whispered. Jack rushed forward and gently lifted the small alien girl into his arms. She was light, too light. Just skin and bones, He wrapped the blanket around her and carried her toward his ship. Laurie followed, scared but hopeful. Inside the ship, it was warm. Jack placed Mira on a bed, covered her, and gave her water slowly. Laurie stood in the corner, still not trusting completely, but too tired to run. Jack glanced back at her. "What's your name?" "Laurie. She's your sister?" Laurie nodded. "You both need food, medicine, and clothes," Jack said. "Stay here. You're safe now." Laurie's voice cracked. Why are you helping us?" Jack looked at her for a long moment. Then he said, in a soft voice, "Because no one else did." Mira opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was a soft light above her. The second was warmth. Real warmth. For so long she had only known cold metal floors, chains, and darkness. But now this place smelled like soup. The blanket on her skin was soft like clouds. She heard gentle breathing nearby. Then she panicked. "Laurie!" She gasped, sitting up suddenly. Her body was weak, but she tried to escape the bed. She thought she was back in a cage. She thought someone had taken her sister. But strong arms caught her. "Easy," a man's voice said. "Don't be scared. You're safe." Mira looked up and froze. A human. She had been taught that humans were cruel, traitors, buyers, masters, but this one. His eyes were kind. His hands didn't hurt. His voice wasn't loud. She blinked in confusion. "Laurie?" She whispered. "I'm here," her sister said. Our eyes sat in the corner of the room, holding a bowl of soup. Her face looked tired but calm. She was watching closely like a wild animal ready to fight, but no longer sure it needed to. "She's okay," Laurie said. "He didn't hurt me. He gave us food." Myra's lips trembled. "Where are we?" Jack spoke gently. "Inside my ship. You fainted. I brought you here, gave you soup, heat, and rest." Mira's body shook, not from cold, but from confusion. "Why?" she asked. Jack gave her a small smile. "Because you're just children. No one should be left like that." Laurie walked over and sat beside her. She wrapped the blanket around both of them and handed Mira the soup. Mira drank slowly. Her eyes never left the human. "Are you a soldier?" Laurie asked. Jack shook his head. "Used to be. Now I just travel, fix things, trade a little, help where I can. You don't want anything for saving us," Laurie said. Jack looked serious. "Now, I've seen too much pain in this galaxy," he said. "Too many little ones like you, thrown away like trash. I don't want anything. I just want to do one good thing." The silence in the room was heavy. Laurie and Mira had never heard such words, not from an adult, not from anyone. They had always been property, tools, bodies to be sold. But now? This man looked at them like they were people. Still, Laurie didn't trust too easily. "If you're lying, I'll fight you," she said softly. Jack nodded. "Fair enough, but I don't lie." Then he stood and reached into a storage box. He pulled out 2 sets of soft clothes, clean, warm, and simple. "These might be big," he said, "but they'll do for now." Laurie hesitated, then took the clothes. She helped Mira dress first. The girl smiled when the sweater covered her tiny arms. "I feel like a real person again," she whispered. Jack pretended not to hear, but his heart ached at those words. Then suddenly, beep. A loud alert flashed on Jack's control panel. Red. Blinking light. Unknown ship. Approaching. Jack's eyes narrowed. Laurie jumped. "What is it?" Jack walked to the screen and checked the signal. "A slaver ship," he said quietly. "They must have tracked your escape beacon." Mira's face turned pale. "They're coming for us," she whispered. Jack turned to them, voice calm but firm. "No one's taking you. Not while I'm alive." He reached for his rifle, checked its power, and loaded a fresh cell. Laurie stood, ready to fight. "I'm not going back," she said. Jack looked at her, the small, brave girl, and gave a nod of respect. "Good," he said. Because neither am I. Outside, the wind began to rise again, but inside the ship, for the first time in years, the girls felt protected, not just fed. Not just warm, protected. The old cargo ship shook as Jack raised the landing ramp and locked the door. The outside wind howled, but inside it was quiet. Safe. The two alien girls sat on the floor near the heater, wrapped in blankets. Mira leaned against Laurie, her eyes still half closed from weakness. Laurie held a spoon in one hand and kept watching Jack with quiet eyes. She didn't trust Easy, but her legs were tired from running, and her heart even more so. Jack walked to the kitchen unit and poured hot water into a steel cup. Then he carried it over, crouched down, and offered it to Laurie. "Chamomile," he said. "Good for nerves." Laurie stared at it. Then slowly she took the cup. Her fingers brushed against his glove. She flinched, but Jack said nothing. He just sat across from them, resting his back against the wall. A long silence passed. Finally, Laurie asked, "Why are you helping us?" Jack didn't answer at first. He just looked at the heater flame, like it held memories he didn't want to open. "I've seen girls like you before," he said. "Too many. On mining moons, in war camps, inside cages. Some scream. Some don't even cry anymore." He looked up at them. "But you still have fight in your eyes." Mira whispered, "Do we have to work for you now?" Jack blinked. "No," she frowned. "Then, are we your pets?" Laurie's hand tightened around the cup. Jack leaned forward, his voice low and steady. "You're not tools. You're not pets. You're not for sale. You're just kids who deserve to live." Mira's lips trembled. Her small voice cracked. "But no one ever said that to us before." Jack sighed and stood up. He walked over to the storage room, opened a metal chest, and pulled out 2 small silver tags. Dog tags, worn and old. He held them out. "This belonged to my sister," he said. "She was taken by slavers too. I searched for her for years, but I was too late." He placed the tags gently on the table. "I couldn't save her. But I can save you." The heater hissed softly in the silence that followed. Myra reached for the dog tags and held them to her chest. Laurie wiped a tear from her sister's cheek. Then she looked at Jack and said something she hadn't said to anyone in years. "Thank you." Jack nodded, keeping his emotions hidden behind a tired smile. "You can stay here as long as you want. Eat, sleep, rest. We'll figure out what's next when you're strong again." Laurie hesitated, then asked, "Do we have to leave this ship?" Jack tilted his head. "Not unless you want to." Mira looked around the ship at the warm walls, the shelves full of tools, the humming lights. She saw drawings on the control panel, pictures of stars, animals, even a little home. "Where do you live, Jack?" she asked. Jack walked over to a drawer and pulled out a photo. It was old and bent, but clear. A small green farm under 2 suns, a wooden house, a dog. A peaceful place. "Earth," he said softly. "It's far, but it's real. A place without slavers. A place where people don't have to be afraid." Laurie stared at the picture like it was a dream. "You'd take us there?" she whispered. Jack gave a single nod. "If you want to come, both of you, you're not alone anymore." Laurie turned to Mira, who was already smiling for the first time. And then Laurie did something she hadn't done since she was taken from her village. She smiled too. A weak smile, a real one, for the first time in years. Laughter echoed inside the ship. It was quiet and shaky at first, like a baby bird learning to sing, but it was real. Mira was sitting on the floor with a tiny screwdriver in her hand, trying to fix a broken music box Jack had found in his storage room. Her tongue stuck out the side of her mouth as she worked, her face full of focus. Laurie sat nearby, combing her sister's hair with her fingers, her eyes softer now. Her body still tensed at every new sound, but her shoulders had dropped a little. The weight she carried was still there, but not as heavy. Jack leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, watching them. He didn't speak. He didn't interrupt. He just watched and listened to that strange, beautiful sound. A child's giggle. "I think I fixed it," Mira said. She pressed a button, and a soft, broken tune played from the box. Jack smiled. "You've got skills, kid," Mira beamed. Alea, I raised an eyebrow. "She used to build small things before they took us." Jack stepped forward and crouched beside them. "You both have talent. Don't ever let anyone take that away." Then he placed something between them. A small box of colored pencils. Laurie stared. Mira's eyes went wide. "We found these on a trade run," Jack explained. "Never opened. Want to try them?" Mira grabbed a sheet of paper from the table and started drawing. Her hand moved fast, lines and shapes forming suns, stars, flowers, and two girls holding hands under a tree. Jack's voice dropped to a whisper. "She remembers trees?" Laurie nodded. "Just one. The one near our old house." Mira held up the drawing proudly. Jack took it, stared at it, and gently pinned it to the wall above the ship's heater. He didn't say anything more, but he didn't need to. Later that night, the girls sat wrapped in warm blankets, sipping soup. Jack was working quietly at the control panel, repairing damaged comms and wiping old slaver signals. Then, blink, a red light. He froze. The girls didn't notice, but Jack's eyes narrowed. Motion detected. Far on the edge of the planet, something had landed. He ran a quiet scan. Ship signature, unregistered, not local, not friendly. He turned off the radar before the girls saw, then walked back with a forced smile. "Time to rest," he said gently. That night, Laurie had a dream. She was back in a cage. Myra was gone. The slaver's voice echoed. "You think someone like him would care? A human? You're just a thing to them." She woke up in a sweat. She sat up fast and saw Mira curled up beside her, holding the dog tags Jack had given them. Her little hands gripped them like treasure. Laurie slowly stood and walked into them. Main control room. Jack was still awake. He was sharpening a blade, an old combat knife. Black steel, military issue. He looked up when she entered. "Can't sleep?" he asked. Laurie said nothing. She stared at the knife. "You think they're coming, don't you?" she said at last. Jack nodded slowly. "I hope I'm wrong, but we need to be ready." Laurie walked closer. Her voice was calm now. "If they come, I'll fight." Jack gave a sad smile. "I believe you." She hesitated, then sat down across from him. "Why are you really doing this, Jack? Why risk your life for two strangers?" Jack looked at her. For a long time he didn't speak. Then, finally he whispered, "Because when I was a soldier, I saw too many lives thrown away. And I was too late to save most of them. But not this time." He looked at her directly. "Not this time." Laurie didn't cry. She just nodded. For once, she felt understood. The next morning, Mira woke up with a paper crown on her head made from wrapping paper and tape. She giggled and ran through the hallway shouting, "I'm the Space Queen." Laurie chuckled and chased her. Jack followed behind, holding a tray of breakfast. But outside the ship, far beyond the junk piles, footprints appeared in the dust. Fresh. Unseen. Watching. The sky was dark purple when the warning came. Unknown signal detected. Approach vector, direct. Estimated arrival, 17 minutes. Jack didn't flinch. He already knew this day would come. He stood up from the control panel, slowly pulling on his armor vest and checking his pulse blaster. It clicked into place with a sound too familiar, one that belonged to battlefields, not quiet homes. Behind him, the laughter stopped. Laurie stood at the doorway, her eyes sharp. "They found us." Jack nodded. Mira peeked out from behind her sister. "Is it them, the slavers?" Jack turned to face them. "Yes," he said quietly. "But they're not taking you." He crouched down in front of Mira, resting a hand gently on her shoulder. "Go hide. deep in the engine room. The one with the blue door. Lock it. Mira's lips trembled. You'll come for us? Jack gave a small smile. Always. Outside. Dust swirled through the junk field as the slaver ship descended. It wasn't large, but fast and deadly. Black paint. No lights. No symbols. Just cold, silent metal with claws. It landed without warning. No greetings. Just a hiss of steam. Ramp dropped. 3 figures stepped out, armor shining, visors glowing red. One carried a net gun. One had an electric prod. The third wore a long coat made of alien skin. The leader, he spoke in a deep voice, smooth and cruel. Jack Carson. You have stolen what belongs to us. Jack stood at the entrance of his ship, rifle in hand, face calm. They're not things, he said. They're children, and they're not yours. The slaver captain laughed. You think this is a rescue story, human? No, this is a business story. And you're getting in the way of it. Jack's finger twitched near the trigger. Turn around and fly back. You won't get past me. The captain smiled and raised his hand. Take him. Laurie watched from inside the ship's hallway. She was told to hide too, but she didn't. Not this time. She had a weapon now. A long pipe sharpened at the end. Not perfect, but enough. She wasn't going to sit and wait. The fight started fast. Jack dropped the first attacker with a stun shot straight to the chest. The second one dodged and threw a shock net. Jack rolled and fired again, clipping his leg. Then the third came at him hard, swinging the prod. Electric sparks lit the air as it crashed against Jack's arm, sending him stumbling. Laurie screamed. Jack fell back but didn't stay down. He gritted his teeth and fired from the ground, blowing the attacker into a scrap pile. That's when the slaver captain drew a long blade. You're old, human, he said. And you're alone. But then he wasn't. Laurie ran out from the ship, pipe in hand, eyes burning with fury. Stay away from him. She swung. The blade and pipe clashed with a loud crack. Sparks flew. The captain grabbed her arm and shoved her down, but Jack tackled him a second later, driving the butt of his rifle into the man's face. They both rolled in the dirt. The captain roared and kicked Jack off, grabbing his blade again. Then zap. A sharp electric shock struck the captain's back. He screamed. Mira stood at the top of the ramp, holding Jack's backup shock pistol. Her arms shook. Her eyes were wide with fear, but her aim was perfect. The captain fell to his knees. Jack stood up and raised his rifle one last time. This is your last warning. The captain spat blood. They'll never stop coming. She's rare, pure-blooded. Yaliri, that little one is worth more than a ship of gold. Jack didn't blink. Then I'll just keep shooting. Boom. One final blast sent the captain's blade flying and his ship's power core smoking. He wasn't dead, but he would never walk the same again. That night, the junk field was silent again. Laurie helped bandage Jack's arm. Mira curled up beside them both, holding the pistol tightly. No one spoke for a long time. Then softly Laurie said, "Thank you." Jack looked at both girls, both warriors now. "No," he said, "you saved me." Asterisk, the stars were brighter that night. Maybe it was the dust finally clearing. Or maybe it was something else. Inside the ship, the silence was deep, but not empty. It was the silence of people who had been through fire and survived. Jack sat at the edge of the small medical cot, wrapping fresh bandages around his arm. The fight had left bruises and burns, but he was used to pain. What surprised him was the 2 pairs of small hands trying to help him. Mira held the roll of bandages, her lips pressed tight in focus. Laurie gently pulled the cloth tight around Jack's arm. "You don't need to do this," Jack said, smiling softly. Laurie looked up. "Yes, we do." He was about to argue, but stopped, because they weren't doing it out of fear. They were doing it out of care. Later, they sat together on the floor near the heater. The old music box played again, still broken, Still beautiful. Mira leaned against Jack's shoulder, holding a small piece of cloth in her hands. It was from his coat torn. During the fight, she had stitched her name into it. And Laurie's. And his. Jack noticed. You're trying embroidery now? Mira nodded shyly. So you don't forget us, Jack chuckled. I don't think that's possible. Laurie looked at him, serious. They're going to come again, aren't they? Maybe not tomorrow. But one day. Jack didn't lie. Yes. Mira. Look down. Will we always be hunted? Jack paused. Then slowly reached into a drawer beside him. He pulled out a small ID chip reader and 2 blank civilian tags. He handed them to Laurie. These are identity chips, he said. Once we scan your DNA, you'll be registered as passengers under Earth protection. Anyone who tries to take you will face real consequences. Laurie held the tags like they were made of gold. No one's ever claimed us, she whispered. Jack's voice softened. I'm not claiming you like property. I'm giving you what no one else did, a name, a place, and a choice. Mira's eyes lit up. You mean, we'd be like your daughters? Jack looked into their faces, so young, yet shaped by so much pain. He saw fire in Laurie, light in Mira. He gave a quiet nod. If you'll have me. There was silence. Then, Mira jumped up and hugged him tightly. Yes, yes. You're already better than any father I ever dreamed of. Laurie didn't move right away. Her hands trembled. Her voice cracked. I don't know how to be a daughter. Jack looked her in the eyes. You don't have to know. You just have to stay. She stared at him for a long time. Then slowly, quietly, she leaned forward and placed her forehead against his chest. I'll try. That night, Jack placed 2 new name tags above their beds. Laurie Carson. Mira Carson. Not property. Not cargo. Family. And somewhere far in the galaxy, the slavers who once owned them would look for profit. But these girls had already found something much more powerful, belonging. The first time Mira saw a tree again, she cried. It wasn't a fancy tree, just an old oak near a wooden fence, its leaves dancing in the breeze. But to her, it looked like a dream from long ago. A piece of her soul returned. She ran to it barefoot, laughing, then stopped and placed her hand on the rough bark like it was a living friend. Jack stood nearby, watching quietly. Beside him, Laurie didn't cry, but she stared at the sky for a long time. 2 suns, blue clouds. The wind smelled like flowers and soil, not rust and ash. Earth. They made it. Jack's farm was small, but full of life. Fields stretched out behind the house. A dog named Max ran circles around the girls, barking happily. The house had a creaky porch, solar panels on the roof, and a door that didn't lock, not because it was broken, but because there was nothing to fear. Inside, the girls had their own room. 2 beds, soft blankets, shelves full of books and tools. Drawings from Mira already hung on the wall. Laurie had started writing in a notebook one Jack gave her. She didn't call it a journal. She called it proof she existed. At night they ate together at the table. Jack cooked simple meals. The girls added spice from their own culture. They learned to mix flavors, traditions, and laughter. One evening, after dinner, Jack turned to them. I signed the papers today, he said. It's official. You're both listed as my family now, legally. Mira cheered. We're real, Laurie blinked. We were always real. Jack smiled. Now the galaxy knows it too. But peace wasn't perfect. Some nights, Mira still had nightmares. Laurie still checked the locks before bed. Jack never told them to stop. He just sat with them, listened, and reminded them of one simple truth. You're safe now. Weeks passed. Seasons changed. And one day, a letter came from the Human Galactic Council. It had scanned records of the slaver group, now hunted and collapsing after Jack's report and evidence. The system that once ignored children like Laurie and Mira finally opened its eyes. Justice had started to move, slowly. But surely, one morning, Laurie stood at the edge of the field, holding the small silver dog tags Jack had given them. Her eyes were calm. She whispered, "I used to think the universe didn't want us." She turned, looking back at the house where Mira laughed in the window, and Jack grilled vegetables under the twin suns. But maybe it was just waiting to give us the right person. And somewhere out there, in a dark, cold galaxy full of greed and silence, a man had opened his door and simply said, "Both of you, come home."